Justin Timberlake says, I apologize. And we're going to talk about it when we get back. I'm CLM II for Style with Power, the channel that helps empower men through style. Hey, happy Monday. And we hope everyone out there had a great Valentine's Day yesterday. As you can see, I'm wearing my Valentine's Day red today. And we're going to talk a little bit about Justin Timberlake as he apologizes to Britney Spears and Janet Jackson. And we're going to get more into that when we talk about hot topics. But let's get into our first segment. What should I wear? When? So today we're going to talk about fragrances. As you know, men, we love to put on fragrances because they are the things that will help us attract the opposite sex. Yes, women love fragrances. I like to go out and I like to get some videos from YouTube from some experts who know a little bit more about fragrances than I do. So, you know what? Let's take a look at this and we'll be right back.
But I'm here to tell you, you definitely should be wearing cologne. It's a great thing to add to your personal style. And that's what I want to talk to you about on today's video. On today's video, I'm going to give you several reasons why I believe wearing cologne is a great idea for almost every guy out there. First reason I believe you need to be wearing cologne is that grooming and hygiene is such an underrated part of men's style. No matter how stylish you are or what kind of style you have, whether you're a dapper guy or street guy, your grooming and hygiene or lack thereof will make you stand out. And one of the great ways to stand out is by wearing a great scent.
Let me start this off with a story. So I'm in Atlanta, Georgia at the airport, about to head out, and I am handing the woman there. I'm the last person to get on the plane. I like to be the last person, just don't like to sit on the airplane. But I'm going in, and I give her my ticket as I'm entering. And we got a little bit close. And she immediately said, "You smell wonderful." And married guy, but I appreciate a compliment. And she was an attractive woman. And you know, stuff like that is why you want to wear fragrance, because it does matter. People do notice.
Fragrances have the power to make you happy. Now, cinnamon is thought to have calming qualities and can remove negative thoughts from your mind. Vanilla is also said to have direct impact on making you happy as well. So if you combine a fragrance that has cinnamon and vanilla like Ultramall, then you can be happy as well.
It was nice to share.
Yeah, so talking about fragrances, the only one that comes to mind is when I was a child, I don't know, around 5, 6, 7 8 years old. My father, every time he would get ready for work, be ready to leave the house, he would spray on the little Hugo Boss bottle with a screw on top. Really?
It must be a Spanish thing.
Yeah, with the strap, right?
1995 Hugo. It'll pop here for you guys so you can see it. I'll put a transition. It's Hugo. It has the little tassel, the little screw-on cap. So I'm very familiar with that. And it's, you're right. Latin people love that. That's
he loved it. He used it for years.
Really good.
And that's exactly what I remember. Yeah, he would spray it one on each cheek, and then one around his neck,
area.
And he'd spray so much that it would be like just dripping on his cheek, and he'd kiss me on the cheek goodbye, like ready to leave the house for work. And I always remember it always like he would put so much on that it would rub off on me as well.
So whenever you smell the fragrance, even if you're walking around New York City or whatever, it's going to take
me right back to that moment when I was a kid. Yeah,
which is amazing.
Yeah.
Fragrances, colognes. As you can see from those videos, it is the thing to do. And I hope those videos helped you understand how to choose fragrances, how to get the best fragrances, the best colognes that will have you stand out so you can attract the opposite sex. There's nothing like a well-dressed man and a good-smelling man. At least that's what women tell me. It's time for our next segment, Hot Topics and Current Events. Justin Timberlake just came out with a tweet, or was it an Instagram post, where he apologized to Britney Spears and to Janet Jackson. So, many of you may not know the stories. Why would he apologize to Britney Spears and Janet Jackson? Well, years ago, Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake were a couple. And recently, a documentary came out called Framing Britney Spears. And it's basically talking about her conservatorship, where she was going through some issues and the courts assigned a conservator to look out for her well-being, which means they were looking out for her estate, looking out for all the money she was making, looking out for the comments that she was making. And this has been going on for quite a long time. And the conservator is her father. So recently, well, not just recently, but over the years, as she has gotten better, she has tried to get her finances, she tried to get control of her finances. And she's been in court, and people have been rallying to have this conservatorship released from her life so that she can move on with her life without having to answer to anyone. She's now 39 years of age, and it doesn't seem fair that you have to go out and ask for permission to spend your own money, hard-earned money. Now, if anyone doesn't know, Britney Spears has made a ton of money and continues to make a ton of money in the entertainment business. She's one of the richest entertainers out there. And for her not to be able to spend the money as she sees fit is just not right. So I'm all for the conservatorship to go away. But because of what's going on, they still haven't taken this off. And I think just recently she went back to court and they still had her on a conservatorship. Now, this documentary, which is called Framing Britney Spears, was done by the New York Times. And within this documentary, it just goes through her life and shows you how this all happened. But there is a little piece about her and Justin Timberlake and the relationship that they had. And what happened is that she eventually broke up with Justin Timberlake. And he was so heartbroken that he actually put it in one of his songs. And it tells about how he was heartbroken and that she did him wrong. And, kind of the fans were a little bit upset because they liked Justin. I mean, Justin was a young, pretty boy from NSYNC. And everyone kind of felt sorry for Justin. And, and it kind of came down on Britney. And Justin is apologizing for that because he now feels that he did her wrong. And he probably did. He probably did do her wrong. So for those of you who don't know the Janet Jackson story, Janet Jackson did the halftime show. She was a special guest of the Super Bowl halftime show. And for anyone who's been following that, anyone that does the halftime of the Super Bowl really gets a boost in their career. Now, Janet was already big. So she had just did a new album, and doing the Super Bowl halftime show would have just elevated her album sales through the roof. And she decided to give a young 24-year-old Justin Timberlake a shot to be on the Super Bowl show with her. Now, Justin was the lead singer for a group called NSYNC, and he was just embarking on his solo career. And while they were doing their routine on stage, Justin Timberlake accidentally tore off a piece of her outfit which exposed Janet Jackson's breasts. And the world went crazy. It went so crazy that people just shut down Janet. Janet lost a lot of endorsements. Janet's album didn't sell as much or as well as she thought it would sell. People started doing business with her. They started canceling her concerts and her appearances, and she just took the brunt of it. And Justin, who was the culprit, who actually did the dastardly deed, did not suffer anything. A matter of fact, he went on to have a grand solo career. So everyone, especially in the black community, looked at Justin like, man, you did Janet wrong. You should have stood side by side with her and tell the world it was an accident, and you should have stood for Janet. But he didn't do that. Young, 24, he was looking out for himself. So now 16 years later, he decides he now wants to apologize to Janet. Now the word is that he tried to apologize over the years, but Janet wouldn't accept his apology. And now 16 years later, he wants to come out and tell the world that he wants to apologize. And Justin, it's a little bit too late. You have grown, you're a mature man now, you're married, you're a father. So, I can understand how you're repenting now, you want to repent in front of the world, but because of the Britney Spears documentary, the world is coming down on you for what you've done to these women. And yes, it's great to admit that you are a white, privileged male who have used black people, especially black people, black artists, black entertainers, black producers to produce your biggest hits. Just imagine, without two black men, Timberlake and Pharrell, you wouldn't have all these hits that you have today. You wouldn't be as big of a star as you are today. Janet Jackson, who was the biggest female star at the time, gave you a shot during the Super Bowl, and you would not be as big as you are today if it wasn't for that shot. So yes, black community looking at you like, Justin, we like you, but I don't know if we're going to accept your apology. Me personally, hey, we're all getting older now. I really don't care, but it is news and it is current events. So what I have done is I have put a link to the story in the description. You can go check that out. And listen, if you have a hot topic that you think that I should cover, just, email me at stylewithpower@gmail.com. Or just put something in the description and I'll definitely talk about that hot topic the next time. Well, it's time for our next segment called How Do I Deal with This Situation? Okay, it's time to talk about relationships and situations. So, the question is, can cheating lead you to your soulmate? Can cheating lead you to your soulmate? So here's a story for you. A young man and young woman are dating, and they're seeing each other on and off. He is trying to play the bachelor role. It's not really, well, he's having a good time. He's a young man, he's a bachelor, he's having a good time. And he's dating this young woman. And of course, the young woman is madly, madly in love with him. So they're dating, they want to be exclusive. And while they're dating, she gets pregnant. Now she's a teenager, he's just above 20 years of age. I believe he's 20, she's 18. She gets pregnant with her first child. So just before the child is born, they get married. All is good. So a year later, they have their second child. So now they're married, they have 2 children. The young lady has a girlfriend. And the girlfriend is always around. Now we're talking about, young people. We're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-olds. The young lady helps her out with the 2 kids, helps her babysit, babysits the 2 kids, and they're all friends. Now the young man, of course, is still sowing his wild oats. He's a young man of 21, 22. So he winds up having an affair with the girlfriend, the babysitter, the best friend of his wife. They wind up having an affair. The husband and wife break up, and he eventually goes on to be with the girlfriend. They wind up having a child, and they wind up being together for years, 15 years or so, 20 years or so, they wind up staying together. Now the wife is devastated. Heart is broken. We understand. You loved your husband. Why would your husband do this to you? Why would your girlfriend do this to you? But it looks like the husband cheating with the friend, divorcing the wife, and winding up with the friend, and they're together for 20 years. It looks like the cheating led to his soulmate. Wow. Now you only see this happen every now and then, but it does happen. Now I've seen it in my lifetime a few times, and that story I just told you was actually the story of my dad and my mother. This is what happened in their relationship. My babysitter wound up being with my dad, and they were together for years until he passed away. So, can cheating lead to your soulmate? It's possible. It is very possible. I don't recommend that anyone goes out there and cheat in order to find out, but I say this. Sometimes you don't meet your soulmate right away. Sometimes you meet your soulmate through somebody else. We don't want that somebody else to be a spouse or a girlfriend or a fiance. But we never know how things are going to happen and how you're going to wind up meeting the person that's for you in your life. I just hope that the individual who was hurt in this situation can look at the situation one day and finally say, you know what? They were meant to be. They just were meant to be. Well, listen, if you have a relationship or a situation or a story, something like this, hey, don't hesitate to email me at stylewithpower@gmail.com. Or you can or you can put something in the comments. But if you send it to my email, I'll look at it and we may be telling your story next time. And don't forget, if you like the content, hey, give me a thumbs up. Give me a like. It'll definitely help us out, and we definitely appreciate all of you out there who enjoy the content of this channel. That's it. That's the end of this week's show, and I will see you next time.